So you want to surf the tallest wave or the biggest wave in a kayak. What does that look like? Explain to me, do you have a place? Is there a particular spot in the world that's ideal for doing this, or what?
There's a number of spots around the world that I could do this. The reason I've been paddling 15 years and I've never had a serious injury is because I'm incredibly calculated before doing any of these things, recognizing that the risks are big enough that if I'm wrong, I can get hurt pretty bad, and that would be getting away lucky. So I don't want a wave that throws, meaning I don't want it to come over the top and throw, because when I'm in my kayak, if I were to get thrown by a wave, say 40 feet tall, and land out in front of the wave flat, I mean, it could shatter my back so easily, or break a bunch of ribs and then hold me down for 2 minutes with the wind knocked out of me. It'd be pretty easy to die.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a wave that it more mushes at the top. So it's going to be a huge wave, but
when you say huge, what are we talking about here?
I mean, I was saying initially my objective was between 30 and 40 feet, and now ideally I'd like to think that the lower end of that will be maybe around 40 feet. I've been out testing, actually the first day I went out testing with a jet ski, we were out in 25-foot faces, maybe a couple 30-foot faces, in a new boat that we had designed specifically for this project. And it felt so good, and I knew I had plenty of hull speed, which was a huge concern going into this project. The waves, they might be cruising at over 30 miles an hour. So one concern was that a surfboard, a big wave board, might be, say, 17 inches wide. My boat was, at least all the boats in the market were like 25 inches wide, which means it's going to be moving a whole lot slower than... A lot
more drag.
Exactly. So I was working with a company, Murky Water, and a designer, Randy Phillips, to design a boat that had the hull speed to try and outrun a wave of this size. Because if your boat's not fast enough, even if you're doing everything right, the wave's going to catch up to you and crush you.
So did you then? Do you have a boat then that you've designed for this challenge?
Absolutely.
Is it designed and you physically have it?
Oh, it's at my house.
Really?
Right now we're on standby waiting for the right swell. And as soon as the swell hits, everyone flies in from all over the place. And we go out and attempt to surf this wave.
So how do you know when the swell hits? Who's keeping an eye on all of that?
There's some specialists in that field that are a whole lot better than I'll ever be at predicting the swell. It comes through Hawaii heading towards us.
Okay.
And I got a big wave surfer friend of mine, Jamie Sterling, so he's watching it along with some of the guys that put on the Nell Scott Reef event that are predicting when to have that event every year. So I have a really good team behind me on this project.
So after that, when you do that, because I have a feeling you'll probably do that, after you've done that, what's next?
That's going to be one of my greatest challenges, finding out what's next for me. I'd like to think that there's a few more goals that I have to accomplish in the sport before I'm ready for a new challenge in life. One of which would be a 24-hour distance world record. I want to travel more distance in 24 hours than anybody ever has. The record was previously set up towards the Yukon, where there's daylight for, say, 22 hours. I want to do it.
Is this on foot, in a boat, on a bike?
In a boat. In a kayak.
Okay.
Right. So they had 22 hours of daylight. My objective is to do it where you only got 14, 15 hours of daylight. I want to do it on a river that's a flooded out Class 5 river. So 13, 14 hours in, my heart rate's going to be over 170 and will have been for well over 10 hours, going into these huge volume Class 5 rapids completely exhausted. So that's another challenge I have in the sport that I'm hoping to accomplish after the Big Wave project. And then after that, what's next? I can't even look that far out. But I do have a child on the way.
I was just going to ask you, I was going to say, how does the child fit into all of this? Because how is Tao going to be as a dad? I mean, what?
Yeah, Jamie's wondering that too.
Whoever this child is, how do they live up to the reputation that you have and the expectation of, it's got to be, you've got to do it the best or don't do it at all. What if they're not like that? How will you feel like you're failing as a dad?
I think that's something that I'll have to figure that out when it's happening. I mean, I'm definitely not ready to be a dad, but I didn't want to be 65 and have a 10-year-old. I want to be young enough that when my child, I know it's a girl, Violet is her name.
Girl, okay.
When she's 20.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not ready, it was absolutely planned. Everything I do is planned. And I knew I would rather, living in the gorge is easy to never be ready because there's always another sport to do during the day. But it was more important to me to have a child now than be 65 and have a 10-year-old and not be able to experience, a lot of stuff that you would want to experience if you had the energy. And so I'm going for it.
So it begs the question, I've got to ask, what if Violet?
Yeah.
What if Violet, someday you won't be able to, control her or protect her or, keep everything in this nice, neat, calculated fashion that you've pretty much built your whole life? Does that scare you?
Having a daughter, I think more so than a boy. I was a little concerned when I found out that I was going to have a daughter. Yeah, it does, but one great thing about my career is that when I'm not on the road, I'm around all the time. So I could really spend a lot of time with her and try and raise her the way that, I think it will best prepare her for the world that we live in.
Do you think you can put her in front of yourself and your desires and put her first? Can you do that?
I don't think having a child is just about putting a child ahead of you. And what I mean by that is that if you're not still living your life also, it's important to me that I'm happy with my life, because if I'm happy with my life, I'm going to be a great father. I think it would be hard to say, I'm just going to put my child first, even if it meant hating my life. What kind of father are you going to be if you hate your own life? So I think that you've got to live an inspiring life for yourself and obviously include, your daughter or my daughter, Violet, in that so that she could also be inspired and she could learn what it could be like to live a life that is inspiring, and that you have a reason to wake up every morning. So I don't think that it's about putting her ahead of me or behind me. I think that it's about working together.
Right. So kind of just taking her along with you, sort of paralleling each other.
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of.
I think so. And there's going to be things that she wants to do that, clearly I'm going to be very supportive of. And it will distract me from things that I might otherwise be doing.
Yeah.
But I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
If I wasn't, I wouldn't have committed to doing this.
What if she's a cheerleader? Are you gonna be on the sidelines?
Her mom was a cheerleader.
Oh,
so
really?
If she's a cheerleader, I'll be on the sidelines. Someone's got to keep an eye on all those boys.
That's right, right.
Yeah.
Well, really, we could go on and on and on, but unfortunately, it's only a half-hour show, so we got to wrap it up. But really appreciate your transparency and your openness, and I've learned a few things from your outlook on success and perceived success and all of that. So that's good stuff, and I wish you and your girlfriend the best with your new daughter, Violet.
Well, thank you very much. It's been great talking with you, and
right.
I'll enjoy doing it more in the future.
Looking forward to it. Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
You guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Local 8, and remember, take care of each other.
Do you have a guest idea? Let us know. Go to localite.com.